Golden Debate Show number 22. EarlyMorningMob.com. Remember to like, comment, share, and download. That's the only way we get our word out.
Yes,
and that's how
Prithee.
we get paid to do what we got to do. Because we got slave jobs too, and we come here and spread the golden knowledge upon you and try to help everybody out, both of you diverse. So let's check it out. Obama appoints Wright's national security advisor. 1 dead in Philadelphia building collapse, sources say. Florida octogenarian claims record for Powerball jackpot. My reading skills are not up to par, but I'm still trying. Yes, TSA drops the plan to allow small knives on planes, and Michelle Obama confronts heckler at a fundraiser. Golden Debate Show. Tone, what shall we do?
Early morning mob it.
Science.
So we'll start off light and then we'll get into it heavy. Tony, you got anything ready to get into? You got your soundboard all ready to go? I got my few. Let's level up.
Science. Okay.
Hey, Golden.
Science.
Hey, classy and golden.
Golden Debate Show. Live on earlyMorningMob.com and Spreaker. Hold on with it.
Warning. Science.
Let's get into it.
Hi, I'm John.
We're going to hit him
Welcome to
with
my salon. This
31 strange
is
medical
floss. I'm so
conditions.
glad that I don't have intermittent explosive disorder,
Warning.
a condition marked by random fits of disproportionate rage. I'm so angry! Ah! Anyway, that's just one of 31 fascinating disorders we're going to learn about here today on Mental Floss. To people who suffer from Alice in Wonderland syndrome, other people can look like they've consumed eat-me cakes or drink-me potions. This distortion, caused by a rare type of migraine, can last for weeks or merely seconds. Mark, is Donald Duck syndrome that disease where you have the dreams about going to school with no pants on? Because if not, they are really missing a naming opportunity there. Are you an elderly woman who's sick of having a recently retired husband underfoot? Probably not, judging from our demographics. But if you are, you might have the aptly named retired husband syndrome, which can actually cause physical ailments like stomach ulcers and rashes.
No two-tone! Soundboard down! Soundboard down! Mine's still up and running.
Breakdown that occurs when the city of Paris, France doesn't live up to the romantic ideal you've envisioned. Thankfully, the Japanese embassy has a 24-hour hotline for citizens
deserves their
suffering from
mac and
culture shock.
cheese.
Really. Truman Show delusion is marked by a patient's belief that he or she is the star of an imaginary reality show. This camera's real, right? It's possible that George Costanza was once the victim of genital retraction syndrome, or CORO, a condition that causes people to believe their genitals are shrinking, disappearing, or have been stolen entirely. Strangely, CORO is occasionally an epidemic. And while we're talking about Seinfeld, let's not overlook the time that Kramer had seizures upon hearing the voice of entertainment reporter Mary Hart. This was based on an actual incident in which a woman had epileptic seizures due to the specific pitch and quality of the tone of Mary Hart's voice. Last Seinfeld reference, I swear, but on the rare occasions that people laugh so hard they
Who are these people?
So when a 62-year-old man passed out in his mashed potatoes because he was laughing so hard at a certain show about nothing, doctors dubbed it Seinfeld syncope. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. Don't eat it.
Punzel!
I was trying to look for my crazy pills.
Their hair. The thing is, hair isn't digestible, so over time it accumulates into a giant mass that can wrap around...
Come on, crazy pills!
Which
There
is
you
called
go.
Rapunzel syndrome. Ever walk into a room and immediately forget why you're there? It could be Disney Life syndrome, which is essentially just information overload. Researchers blame constant stimulation from cell phones, the internet, social media. I'm sorry, that's my fault. All right, now on to coprophagia, coprolalia, and copropraxia, respectively. Those mean making
if you are obsessive compulsive, press 1 repeatedly. If you are codependent, ask someone to press 2 for you. If you have multiple personalities, press 3, 4, 5,
Does your
6.
strawberry ice cream
If
taste
you are
like
paranoid,
vanilla?
we know what you are and what you want. Stay on the line and we'll trace your call. If you're delusional,
I might have put the red food coloring in the wrong ice cream. Often associated with dysgeusia is burning mouth syndrome. Nearly 1.3 million Americans suffer from it. So right now, one of you is probably feeling
So
like
I won't
you
get
just
them
got hot
to
pizza
30,
cheese
all
plastered
31,
to the
which is
roof of
almost
your mouth,
33.
even if you haven't eaten recently. Pizza probably wouldn't be at the top of the list for someone
But
who's gourmand.
we'll get into the
thought
next
to be
clip, which
caused
is kind of
by
funny, and then we'll
reach the
start
right
getting
frontal
into it
lobe
really
brain.
heavy
GS
here on the
results
Golden
in a
Debate Show.
preoccupation
Miley
So
Cyrus,
I ain't gonna lie.
the virus,
I like Miley Cyrus. So this is the man
Blabbermouth,
Mark Dyson. We all know he
psychologically
kind of spits
sedated
some knowledge, but he's
singer,
kind of advanced
just
too.
released a new single
let's listen to it.
bragging about popping ecstasy, snorting cocaine, and having sex with whoever she wants to. The single is titled "We Can't Stop" and starts off with some
Science.
lyrics that are sort
Okay.
of
Shut up already. It's just, this is
modified.
science.
So the parents couldn't hear them and understand them, but it says it's our party. We can love who we want to. We can kiss who we want to. We can screw who we want to. And then later in the song, there's a line about doing lines in the bathroom. As you may well know, a lot of people snort cocaine in the bathrooms at clubs and bars.
What?
And so Miley had made a reference about people wanting to get lines and snort some coke in the bathroom at the club. And of course, she mentioned dancing with Molly, another code word for the kids that's going to go right over the heads of most parents. Molly, many of you probably know. If you don't, it is a slang term for ecstasy. Dancing with Molly means partying on ecstasy. So,
All right, so enough
way to
partying in the
go,
USA.
Miley virus.
He's going to start getting real
latest
vulgar, but let's get
Illuminati
into the next clip.
incarnation to
We'll
be
start debating
promoted
some
to
real
the
shit.
Peons.
And I know we ain't being
Piss
no better than the fucking
listening
media.
peons
I
pouring
start
the
first.
urine stream.
Get that mac and cheese. Everybody deserves their mac and cheese.
I don't really know what else to say at this point. If you're listening to mainstream music, if you're downloading these MP3s, you are mentally enslaved.
Welcome. This is James Corbett of The Corbett Report, with your eye-opener report for BoilingFrogsPost.com. In recent weeks, we've been told to focus on a series of scandals which, we are told, are rocking the Obama administration. Has the media finally found outrage over the Obama regime's use of drone strikes to kill scores of innocent women and children in countries that are not even at war with the United States? Or the DOJ's recent admission that the strikes had indeed killed American citizens? Or John Kerry's recent attempts to once again lead the American public into supporting military intervention in the Middle East based on provably false claims of WMD? Of course not. No, the media's sudden discovery of outrage is directed at an entirely different scandal. The fact that reporters have now allegedly found themselves in the government's crosshairs.
The Associated Press reported on Monday that it had been told by the U.S. Justice Department that some of its phone records had been subpoenaed. Quoting secret sources, the AP had recently broken stories about the arrest of an al-Qaeda terrorist in Yemen and the U.S.'s use of the Stuxnet virus in an attempt to sabotage Iran's nuclear energy program. U.S. officials defended their move Tuesday afternoon, saying that such government leaks present a threat to national security. Phone records from AP bureaus in New York, Washington, and Hartford were subpoenaed, along with some of the home and cellular phone records of AP journalists involved in the exclusives, all for the months of April and May of last year. AP President Gary Pruitt fired off a letter to Holder on Monday night, calling the subpoenas a serious interference with the AP's constitutional rights to gather and report the news.
To add fuel to the fire of this current controversy, it's recently been revealed that Fox News reporter James Rosen has been under investigation by the Justice Department as a possible co-conspirator in a case involving leaked State Department information on North Korean nuclear tests. Particularly galling is the fact that Attorney General Eric Holder personally signed off on the investigation and is now being charged with leading the investigation into the investigation. The story has given the media a chance to mention a point that we have been painstakingly documenting for years here at BoilingFrogsPost.com, namely that the Obama administration is the worst in the history of the United States when it comes to pursuing investigations into government whistleblowers, with more whistleblower prosecutions under the Obama DOJ's belt than all other presidencies in the history of the country combined. Sadly, though, most of the media's faux outrage over these scandals has been used to shift the debate once again to how special journalists are and how this scandal is worthy of outrage, more so than all of the other atrocious abuses of civil liberties that have taken place in the Obama era.
Bullshitter alert!
It is especially ironic, then, that at almost the exact same time the media is wringing their hands over their own privileged status as special citizens of the United States who deserve extra protections from governmental intrusion, a story millions of times wider in scope was accidentally broken during a live CNN interview with former FBI counterterrorism agent Tim Clemente, and then almost immediately forgotten.
And Tim, is there any way... Now, obviously it was a voicemail. They could try to get the phone companies to give that up at this point. But if it's not a voicemail, it's just a conversation. There's no way they actually can find out what happened, right? Unless she tells them.
No, there is a way. We certainly have ways in national security investigations to find out exactly what was said in that conversation. It's not necessarily something that the FBI is going to want to present in court, but it may help lead the investigation and or lead the questioning of her.
So
we can
it's
certainly
being
find that out.
digitized, or they can actually get that. Because people were saying, look, that wouldn't be possible. It's pretty incredible what you're saying.
No, welcome to America. All of that stuff is being captured as we speak.
Take me away, They're coming to take me away, ho-ho. To the funny part where life is beautiful all the time, and I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their green white dresses and they're coming to take me away.
If they can find out, that could obviously become crucial.
Okay, let's turn our attention now to the phone call between Catherine Russell and her husband Tamerlan Tsarnaev. You said something very interesting on Aaron Burnett's show last night. You said that if Catherine Russell does not divulge the contents of this phone call, that the FBI had other methods finding out what was said. What did you mean by that?
Well, on the national security side of the house, in the federal government, we have assets. There's lots of assets at our disposal throughout the intelligence community, and also not just domestically but overseas. Those assets allow us to gain information.
So we'll get into this next clippery
on things that we can't
this
use
next
ordinarily in criminal
clippery kind of plays off this a little bit. I played it the last couple of times, but not a tone here.
And you're not talking about a voicemail,
our hangouts filling up with people coming in long after the gates are locked.
Yeah, well, now one local city has had enough, and its leaders are taking steps to put a stop to it. Eyewitness News reporter Marcus Solis has the story.
Like any surveillance camera, the ones going up in Mount Vernon take pictures. But get this, they talk too, giving trespassers the following warning.
Stop. This is a restricted area, and your photograph was just taken. We will use it to prosecute you. Leave the area now.
Today, Mount Vernon officials showed off the city's newest crime prevention tool. The cameras are meant to deter illegal activity and vandalism at parks and playgrounds after hours.
We want to send a message
That's all you have to say,
if you're going to do
yes, sir.
evil things, this is not the city to do it.
I think that this will help ensure the different parks in Mount Vernon to ensure that other people can live safely and children can live safely.
The cameras are solar powered and motion activated. The flash is powerful enough to photograph a suspect up to 100 feet away, even in darkness. Each unit costs $6,000. There are a number of residents who say the money is being misspent given the poor conditions in some of the playgrounds.
There's nothing in here, so why you got cameras in here? Don't nobody be in here?
It's really sad because these kids don't have nowhere to go, nowhere to play. What are they going to play on? Everything over there is too often messed up.
But officials say they can't fix up the parks until they crack down on vandalism. As for those concerned
Yes, I figured it out. It's a psyops.
In all, there will be a
and
dozen.
This was revealed in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology, who came out with a report called Casualties of War and Sunk Costs, Implications for Attitude Change and Persuasion. That would be the definition of psychological warfare, changing your mind. Check this out. War protests, both explicit, like memorials, and implicit, like lists of casualties, can actually make people more supportive of a war, according to this new study. And here it comes. Study's authors explain this by reference to what they call a don't waste or sunk cost mindset that sees blood and treasure spent on a war as an investment that can be recouped only by staying the course and winning. So now I understand why they're using blood and treasure.
Where'd you get this? Go back.
This is the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology. The report, Casualties of War and Sunk Costs, Implications for Attitude Change and Persuasion.
Where did you get this?
From the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology.
It's not like you get the thing in the mail. No, my Journal of Experimental Psychology just showed up, honey. Hold on a second. Let me read it.
How little you know about me. Dude, this is the kind of stuff that's on Dude, this is the kind of stuff that our producers post on the NoAgendaNewsNetwork.com.
Shut up already. This is
and
science.
Science Direct actually was the link to this. But, of course, I get the study. You know, people send me the link to the summary page. So, but NoAgendaNewsNetwork.com. If you want to be a producer, send me an email and put NANN producer.
See, these guys
in there
got great free stuff. You go there, you don't got to pay no.
So again, I just want to
PsyOps. That makes sense. I mean, we just keeps cropping up too much. And a lot of people, of course, are unwittingly using the term, which just adds to the greatness of it.
Fantastic. So they don't really have no ads. They're allowed to talk about anything they want to talk about without no vampire. You know,
a don't waste or sunk cost mindset.
I would hope that people would donate to that. All we're asking for is some like, comment, share, and download.
As an investment that can be done only by staying the course.
It's your trigger fingers.
Right in our face.
Crippy calzone.
Should I play that blood? Man, I have it somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that's a beauty.
That's actually a good idea. When did I play that? Was that on the...
It was about 2 or 3 shows ago.
Really? That far ago?
And you played it
mac and
back,
cheese, everybody
well, maybe 2 shows ago, but you played it at the end of the show, too, as the show ending.
Okay, hold on a second. I have a pretty decent system here.
This is pretty good. I think this is a good catch. This goes in the next newsletter I send out to the people. By the way, if you're out there listening to this show, please get on our mailing list.
Okay. Shut up already.
So much so that you could stand there and see the internal organs of her body. Now, if I can't even begin to describe the amount of heat that would take, okay? But nobody even saw a fire in the apartment. There was just a lot of smoke, okay? And she was identified by her hair color. So right next to this,
that's where the fire alarm
charred.
See?
The bones of her arm
Awesome,
is
kid.
unburned human hair. Okay, well, hair's the easiest thing to burn on the body. We've all burned it on our forearms around a stove or whatever. And bones bones don't even burn. I mean, technically, when they do a cremation, when they're finished, there are a bunch of bones, and they grind them up, and they give you back a box of bone dust, okay? And so there is the obvious conclusion from that is 2 things. One is this burn of her arm, which was an electrical
just keep an open mind on it.
Could not have happened in her apartment because there's nothing in her apartment. So the whole murder scene was falsified. But the more egregious point on the cover-up was they didn't tell the public the main forensic fact in the case. I mean, this is like talking about the Nicole Simpson murder.
Straight vampire.
And then she got her throat cut.
Yeah.
And so that kind of control, I mean, the firemen who went in the building knew it. The police who went in the building knew it. I promise you the reporters who were covering the story knew it, but it never got published in the newspaper. That is control.
Par for the course. Good point, yeah.
And later that day, this is very interesting because I had the newspaper articles. I was just kind of seeing what else was going on in the world. Later that day, they said that Lyndon Johnson suddenly jumped into his car and made an unscheduled
Zurich Mines Conference demonstrates the amazing capability of drones that can communicate with each other. Technology he admits to youth populations and is, quote, incredibly dangerous. The most impressive part of the demonstration shows the drones working together to intercept an object.
I want to regenerate as John Connors. Fuck you, Skynet.
Because we're short on time, I kind of want to cut to the chase a little bit. I do want to ask you who you think killed her and why.
Then move to intercept. This is a nice demonstration of various aspects from control theory. The first is optimal control, to figure out the optimal way for them to throw the ball up in the air, subject to their constraints. The second is feedback control without these controls. And the third is replanning to move to intercept the ball.
Hey, yo, it's Golden. What?
Okay.
Yeah. From morning, trying to make it
Yes,
to the night.
last
On the mic, working
Yes, voice box.
Okay, so the things that I want you to appreciate when you see this is
It's a drones that work together. I clap.
when they're fully extended.
Get that mac and cheese. Everybody deserves their mac and cheese.
Are on the order of magnitude larger than the forces of the vehicles can apply themselves. So it's like somebody yanking you with thousands of pounds of force. And they have to be able to coordinate their actions to not only throw the ball up in the air,
Are you certain
and
of
then
your
move to
sensory?
intercept it. This
Definitely a
is an
space
extremely
vessel of some
dynamic
type.
task with a lot of
Origin?
uncertainty, with very
Unknown.
fast dynamics.
Could hardly
Yet,
be an Earthship.
this
There's been no
technique
flights
of
into the
designing
sector
control
for years.
systems is very robust,
Picking up
and
the
that's why
signal,
the system
sir.
works.
Earlier this month, we reported
Captain, that's
on the
the old
development
Morse
of a
code
drone
call
that
signal.
mimics the
Thank you.
behavior of eagles to snatch stationary
We're reading
objects
it,
off the
Lieutenant.
ground. A capability
I thought you said it couldn't
technology
possibly be an
experts
Earthman.
fear could one day be used
Understand why it
to
always gives you
literally
pleasure to see me
abduct
prove it wrong.
protesters and
An
other
emotional-
suspects off the streets.
Contends that they
He
gave
also
the last
highlighted
full
how
measure
a
of
mind-
devotion
Science.
to defend a proposition
Okay.
about government,
It's
about how we
science.
choose to live together, starting with liberty and moving to equality. And whether the contract we make with one
This is
another
Spielberg,
based on liberty
who made the
and
movie Lincoln.
equality
This is him
is
giving
practical, whether
Now
it
listen
will
to what he
work,
says,
mechanically
and I'll
work,
show
whether
you how
this
well.
idea of government can function on the earth we inhabit. And that's one reason why I think he keeps saying here in his address, here. It happened right here on the ground all of you are standing on the solid earth all of us inhabit. These citizen soldiers fighting for the Union died testing that proposition that democracy can work in the hands of not of angels, nor even, to borrow from Lincoln's first inaugural address, in the hands of the better angels of our nature, but in the sometimes clumsy, sometimes
And on Monday,
bloody,
we celebrate Memorial Day.
error-prone hands of the
Unofficially,
ordinary
it's the
people
start
we
of summer.
are.
A chance for us to spend some extra time with family and friends, some barbecues or on the
They play the
beach,
clips in there.
getting a little
Tony
fun and
arrives,
relaxation
and I
in
want the
before heading back to work.
Yep.
It's also a day
But
on
it's-
which we
it
set
has, I
aside
almost
some
knocked
time
out.
on our own
Big movie. It's
to
science.
honor and remember all the men and
Especially
women
when
who
it
have
comes to
given
PR.
their
I
lives.
mean,
in
if you ain't got a
service.
PR department, you're never gonna
They are
succeed.
heroes,
You know.
each and every one. They gave America the most precious thing they had.
So I like to end it
Last
with
full
these
measure of devotion.
last
Because they did,
two clips, and
we are who we are
we're out of
today.
here. We're out of here, everybody.
People will find out about this.
We're out of here.
So hopefully
We gotta kind of spread the word,
buy
but
into these
good stuff.
phonies anymore
Get
and
it
start
out.
understanding
Get it out
that the
there.
only person that can control their destiny and and how much
And we
they
in
know
there like
and how
kitchenware
enlightened they
holla.
are is themselves.
Get that mac and cheese.
Not some figurehead, not some truther, not some leader, not some president, not some pope, not some rabbi, not anybody but you yourself. And hate to break it to you, it's the only person that can make you miserable too. Because if you don't want to be miserable, the only thing you have to do is just not be miserable anymore. But you can't see your way out of it sometimes because you get bogged down in it. And see, that is what they want to do with all of us. But, you know, microcosmically, all of you out there felt that. You feel bogged down in your own emotions or bogged down in your own, you know, you can't you see. But see, that's the whole thing.
This don't make no sense to everybody.
They tell you you can't speak truth to power, but you can.
Let me see what I got. I haven't
say
played
you
this on
can't
Golden Debate, which is kind of crazy.
Disagree with the powers that be, but yes, you can. They say you can't change anything. The world's the way it is, and
Tony, do you feel we could change?
That's just the way it is, and you can't change it. So
It's
don't
gonna be
worry
hard.
about it. That is from people who have lost at life. People who say that kind of stuff have lost at life, and they want you to lose at life too. That's why they say it.
Own pressures in the fault zone.
I am blown away every day by the amount of people that know about the California policy now. It used to be nobody knew about it, and you were a crazy kook if you talked about it. Now everybody knows about it. And that,
Here, the ability of metal and alloys to withstand the heat
blows me
are
away.
expected to provide valuable data for projected spaceships and satellites. The slim metal ship may furnish some of the answers
So, yeah, I mean,
as the world enters the space
person that
age.
is
The Atomic Energy Commission and Nuclear Energy Propulsion of Aircraft are currently conducting research for advanced technologies in atomic engines and radical propulsion studies. Integration of hydrogen-based fuels and electro-hydrodynamic technology may open up for us development of super aerodynes with Mach 5 capabilities.
Some of the technology, yes, it has improved on or discovered and is being used today. Yeah, I think everything that we were involved in from 1942 clear up to 1947 was justified.
Get that mac and cheese.
Just weeks after the crashes at Roswell, President Harry Truman named James V. Forrestal as the first Secretary of Defense. On September 24, 1947, a top-secret research and development operation was established under his direction. It was called Majestic 12.
It's my understanding that MJ-12 was basically a sort of oversight administrative policy-making group, very small, and that the people who were responsible to MJ-12 were very select people in various branches of the intelligence community, the military and military department. So it was very compartmented. It wasn't some huge operation.
MJ-12 supervised several agencies involved in various aspects of the UFO phenomenon. But only the 12 Majestic members knew the whole story, and they reported only to the president.
I'm not sure if I showed you this, but the Floyds found out where that magic...
Attorney General, the highest-ranking law enforcement officer in this country, is a crook. Just be sure you're right.
What? You hear that? It's the magic number. Yes, it is. It's the magic number. It's up to 366.
House rule number 53. Big time taste should fit in a little time cup.
And this was a primary report and then 3 annexes comprising 17 pages. Many unusual commentaries were included. Everything from missing soldiers to airplanes that have been shot down while chasing UFOs.
Liquid
There's
gold.
a section called Government Policy of Control and Denial.
Pull forward on the road. One of the most difficult aspects of controlling the
high-tech tool
is actual control of the press.
They launch a helicopter.
You may be over the Golden Show too after this. Golden Universe.
A thermal
And the way they did it was to begin the security procedures that we developed during the Manhattan Engineering Project for the first atomic bomb. Compartmentalization to tell each group only a little bit of the story, so hardly anybody has the big picture. And then, of course, security tests, security oaths, fines, and ultimately threats.
There's a section called Constitutional and Domestic Issues, and it states,
in dealing with clear violations of civic law and guarantees as defined under the Constitution, it has been discussed among members of Majestic 12 that such protection of individual rights are outweighed by the nature of the threat.
Clearly, they thought that ETs landing or being involved in the American
obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night. This station and hundreds of other radio and TV stations throughout this part of the country are pooling their resources through an emergency network hookup to keep you informed of all developments.
And some of them were very well known, some of them weren't very well known. Turned out to be perfectly appropriate.
As President-elect Dwight Eisenhower was preparing to take office, he was briefed about the ongoing UFO investigations of this elite group.
I believe the Eisenhower briefing document is genuine. The list of members, I thought that would indicate it was phony because Dr. Donald Menzel, a Harvard University professor of astronomy, was listed as a member. But he was a total skeptic about 3 anti-UFO books. You certainly don't need a security
down, try to know more live, hit them with it.
All the objects
We'll make sound effects then.
Unidentified. We know what they are. Second, in many cases, they're not flying. And finally, in many cases, they are not even material objects.
I discovered, to my total amazement, that he led a double life, that he worked with the National Security Agency, worked for the CIA, and top secret ultra clearance, did classified work for 30 companies. None of this was known.
The idea that was introduced was that there was at the very least
that mac and cheese,
This other guy, so they look like, I don't know. This don't make no sense, everybody.
It's a cultural difference, the openness of condoms, the openness of the vibrator.
Get that mac and cheese.
She was objecting to these things. So it was hurtful to you, that it annoyed you.
Actually, so this is one of the more strange things that happened was that no one ever confronted me, no one, about